Welcome to Season 6, Episode 11 of the Family Travel Australia podcast. We are Paul, Katie and Jasper from the Feel Good family. Join us as we explore this great country, Australia, its people, places and cultures.
Yes, welcome to the Family Travel Podcast, where we share the latest in RV industry news, road trip travel, caravanning, camping, product reviews, where to go, what to do, and so much more. Thanks for joining us for another week.
Yes, welcome. This week we collect our brand new van from Zone RV headquarters up there in Coolum Beach, and we experience a handover that is completely out of this world. First class, innovative and quite unique at the stunning Hangar Row, and Jasper starts his own YouTube channel.
Holy dooly.
Yes.
Strap yourselves in, Mum and Dad.
Unbelievable. And we also take a little visit to the Ginger Factory, one of our favourite places up there on the Sunshine Coast. Awesome. Welcome back.
Oh my goodness, what an incredible episode. What an amazing week that we've had, just full of huge emotions, so much excitement, a little bit of nervousness too. Yeah, we feel like we're beginning again. We're green nomads again in this incredible new caravan with all of these new features that we have never used before. It's full on.
What does this button do? Yeah. It is awesome.
Yes.
Look, we're going to do a complete walkthrough of the van and also the 79 series, the Land Cruiser, that big V8. I'm loving that.
Another beast that we don't really know what we're doing with yet.
That's okay. We are going to take you on the journey. We're going to learn as we go. And it's so exciting to be able to do this, to actually be able to share it and, say, well, we don't know what we're doing here, but let's give it a go and learn as we go. So lots of great content coming your way.
Yeah, it is. I just was thinking, Paul, as you were talking then about how different it feels for us this time around, even though we feel very new and very green again, jumping into these new vehicles with all of this technology that we don't know yet how to use or harness isn't nearly as scary as the first time we decided to make the leap. And it's just really interesting that even though we've got all of this nervous energy going on, it's like, oh, yeah, she'll be right. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right?
Do you know, I heard a lady in one of the queues, the show queues. We're down on the Gold Coast and exploring the theme parks. Wowzers.
Yeah.
We'll tell you about that next week. And she turned around and this other lady goes, excuse me, is that your child? And she goes, yeah, I know. Child number 2. It's just what happens, you become a little bit like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we hear that from lots of other families actually, and they always seem to be the kids that are really resilient. They, they just get stuck in straight away. They walk quicker, they talk quicker, they're into everything.
So I feel like that with our new van, it's an off-road vehicle. It's going to be able to really explore, adventure, take us to places that we otherwise wouldn't be able to get to.
Amazing.
Capabilities that are out of this world. So very exciting.
So good. All right, let's get into it.
All right, let's take you back then to Coolum Beach, Zone RV HQ, as it's known, to just really take you on the customer journey. What happens when you actually pick up a new van from Zone is very impressive and like nothing else that we've experienced before.
Yeah, that's right. And they've got a great facility there at Zone. I mean, the showroom itself is really impressive in that you can go in and walk around and get inside these vans and touch and feel everything. And then when it comes to pickup day, which interestingly, we'd been watching people come and go over the last few weeks that we'd been in and out of the Zone showroom, having meetings and whatnot. So we'd seen plenty of this action happening with other people and people who've been watching our show as well, which has been really great to bump into them at Zone.
Yeah,
So
that was
getting,
cool.
yeah, really cool. So getting to actually be able to arrive as a customer and go through this experience ourselves was just awesome. And the team there are fantastic. And this process, as you said, Paul, is a little different to anything that we have experienced before in terms of the fact that you do a little bit of handover, you do the safety stuff here at HQ, and then they send you off on an amazing experience.
Look, it is exactly that. We should note that we are collecting our van quite early. There was a little bit of a change of plans, and so this was a huge surprise for us. So I think the footage, you can probably tell that we're just like, what is going on? You know, this is unbelievable. I think to have that beautiful plaque too with your name in it, welcoming you to the Zone family, and then we were met by Phil, gave us a walk around the vehicle, the really important sort of safety checks, made sure that we'd hitched up correctly. Now, what is unique about this and really innovative is that the handover then takes place at Hangar Row, which is 100 kilometres journey up the road north from Coolum Beach there. And you get to experience a real diverse range of driving, bless you, including a little bit of farm driving through the sugar canes, 60 kilometres an hour. Then you're building up to 80 kilometres an hour, starting to feel what it, really feels like towing this new van and for us as well, new tow vehicle. So that, it was all new. You're then entering onto the motorway, and then for about the next 35, 40 kilometres, you're coming up to Gympie. So it's a fairly short stretch. Then you're halfway pretty well by the time you get to Gympie, and you've experienced traffic lights, roundabouts, trucks passing you, different gears depending on what sort of vehicle you're driving. So it is quite exciting. We even pulled off, there's exit 253 to see the famous Matilda kangaroo.
Yeah, that was awesome. That's the Traviston exit, and there is a big service centre there, so you can stop and get fuel and get lunch and snacks and all of that sort of thing. Get out, stretch your legs. I loved it because Matilda, the kangaroo from the 1982 Brisbane Commonwealth Games.
The one that was winking.
Yes, she now calls this service centre home. And it was so cool because while you were out doing a walk around of the van and just checking everything, I quickly Googled, good old YouTube, don't you love it? You can find anything online these days. And I found the opening ceremony.
Oh,
so
cool.
Jasper and I sat in the car and watched it, and he was just like, no way. How did they get her to go around the track like that? Look at her. She's winking. She's waving. So it was so awesome. And you can literally get right up close to her. So pretty cool little photo opportunity there as well.
I loved it. I was at Surfers Paradise Primary School back there, and loved the experience from a school student knowing that the Commonwealth Games were in our backyard,
That's awesome. It was a little bit maybe before my time. I was still very much in nappies during those Commonwealth Games.
Look, infamously, if you remember, I believe they had, all these hundreds of volunteers with little placards, and they held them over their head, and then they flipped them and they made the map of Australia and left Tasmania off.
No, how could they?
I believe that's the story. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
wow, any Tasmanians out there, let us know.
I mean, even Jasper, when we were in Tasmania, he argued with us whether Tasmania was Australia.
Yeah, well, look, we went to dinner the other night with some really good friends of ours here on the Gold Coast, and their children had that same thought and pattern. Well, it's not the mainland, so, it's its own
Terrible.
place.
Tassie,
anyway,
we love you, Tassie.
We do love
You're
you,
definitely
Tassie.
Australians.
Hey, before we move on, a couple of really good tips from us. No matter what rig you are purchasing and when it comes to that time of handover, for us, going to Hangar Row for this handover experience meant we were going to be off-grid. So really good. Think about, do I need full water tanks? If you're picking up your van and you're going off to camp for a few days, or you're getting a zone, you're going to Hangar Row, or, you might be going home but you want to test out that off-grid capability. Yeah. Think about filling up your water tanks. So that's a really good tip.
And then on the flip side is that if you are going to a full hookup site, we would suggest, depending again on your setup, travel empty. The amount of weight, every litre is a kilo thereabouts. So, if you've got 180 litres, or in this case, up to 240 litres of water on board, that's 240 kilos that you are dragging down the road. And with fuel up there, certainly going to add to your bill. So, yeah, that's a really good suggestion
think
there.
about that
Bit
one.
of a money saver.
The other one would be, sorry, Paul, before we go forward, is think about what you need, because you're picking up an empty caravan. So if you are going to camp for a few days to give it a test run or a shakedown, as they call it, think about, okay, we're going to need linen. We're going to need some cutlery and crockery and the things to cook with and some toiletries and, all of that. So just have a plan so that you don't get caught out.
And being the first time towing a new vehicle behind you, or having, both sets of vehicles, this is completely new, make sure you've got the kids entertained, because having a kid or two or three or four kids, all squabbling or yelling out stuff to you while you're trying to focus would be pretty, I think, stressful, really. So, remove stress. Load up the iPad, make sure you've got a movie there or some games, and let them have it, on this particular travel day, because it will certainly take that extra little bit of pressure off you as the driver.
Yeah, great advice.
Okay, let's get ourselves then through Gympie, again, a few traffic lights, roundabouts, and then again another 35, 40 kilometres further down the road is Hangaro. If you're coming from the south, you cannot enter Hangaro. You have to head another 500 metres up the road, pull into the independent fuel store. This is another great place if you want to get fuel. There's a pie face there.
Yeah, it's a massive service centre. So honestly, it wouldn't matter what size rig you are towing. It is so huge. You can definitely get in. It's high clearance. Great place again to stop, pick up anything that you need before you head on down the road to Hangaro.
Yeah, that's right. It'll just do a U-bolt and off down onto the motorway, the Bruce Highway, which is average at best.
Wow, that's actually quite a compliment.
It really is. The bypass is going through there, and I think it's going to be completed. It's not the end of this year. I think it might be next year, 2023, if you're listening to this. And I mean, no disrespect to the workers out there, but I think it's just been now, well, the new one's coming, so let's just leave it. There is potholes and, so you really do get every kind of element thrown at you for this towing experience.
Yeah, so that last section of the Bruce Highway as you're coming up towards Hangaro is very bumpy. In fact, we got a few comments about that. Gee, your new rig's a bit bumpy, guys. No, it's just the road.
Yeah, particularly that part. All right, so the sanctuary that is Hangaro, then you arrive there, you will have received your code, so you put that in. It's a gated, campsite really that's on 160 acres. And we were met by Sam and Darren, who are the owners of this incredible property. We have spoken about Hangaro many times. There'll be some details in the show notes if you want to go back and either watch that episode or listen to that episode. Barista coffee coming up, is that what you'd like? Or can we get you a drink? And then you pull around through the property to an area that has the zone flags, the big markers up, so that you know exactly where you need to pull up on a massive patch of green lawn. And Darren then commences the handover in situ. I mean, this is where you're camping. It actually makes such sense, this version, opposed to what we have experienced with two other vans, where you're running around in an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're left with your head spinning from from the lot at the manufacturer, to actually now be in an environment that you're going to use the van. I just think it's such a fantastic idea.
Well, everything about it felt a little more relaxed from my perspective. Paul, you're right. When we've had those handovers in the past and you've been at the factory and there's lots going on, and, we tried to film things so that we had it to reference later, and you spend the whole time thinking, oh my God, I've got to remember all of this, and how my head is full, and every new piece of information just maybe makes you feel a little more anxious or overwhelmed.
True.
Being there at Hangaro in that beautiful environment with a coffee in hand with Darren and Sam, who are so, by their very nature, relaxed and welcoming and calming.
And we had a visit from one of their little orphan Joeys. These guys, I mean, we could do an episode just dedicated
Yeah,
to
their
them.
story's amazing.
They are an impressive couple and really just good people, just good hearts.
Yeah.
But anyway, they also rescue wildlife, and so we had a visit from Foxy.
Yeah, I love it. They name all of their rescue kangaroos
Yeah.
from what's it called? It's the alphabet that they use in flying.
Oh, Tango Bravo.
Yeah, exactly. So we
Yeah.
had Foxy come and visit, which was, again, such a nice touch. And it just broke up, the walk around the van and the information. And it just felt like we were catching up with mates
Yeah.
who were showing us, hey, check this out. This is cool. Look at this. This can do this.
And look, we'd still recommend whatever the handover experience that you get to do or experience at any point, film it.
Yes.
Just film the real important bits, the awning, gas, power, water,
Yeah.
just those things that you will need to reference,
Yeah.
and look back on. The great thing is that you've got 2 nights stay here and they live on site. And as you're sent off, please go and find yourself your patch of heaven here on Hanger Row, wherever you want to camp. And must be 8 to 10 drop toilets that are positioned around. So there's those access to those amenities as well if you need them. But Darren and Sam say, look, we're on site. If you get over there and you think, oh, hang on, I've forgotten how to do that, or you can't find it on your what you filmed, then just pick up the phone and call us, and we'll either pop down or just talk you back through it.
Yeah,
So
it is really
good.
awesome. Yeah, and it just takes a bit of that pressure
Definitely.
and stress out of it, which is exactly what we did. So we did our handover with Darren. He explained some of these new features of this van to us that we've never used before, never even, heard. It does what? What am I supposed to do with that? So we went through all of that with him, and then we did exactly that. We drove off and found our own patch of campground, and it's really beautiful what they've done here, because all of the campsites, well, I say sites, it really is a pick your own, back onto the creek that flows through the property. So every site is beautiful. They've got big communal fire pits as well. So we found our patch of paradise and set up, and it was like, okay, here we are.
And they also all look out to the airstrip.
Yeah.
Which is not like a traditional strip. It's just, again, it's, I don't know, it must be a 10-acre parcel of
It's like the world's biggest football oval with an airstrip.
perfectly manicured lawn.
Yeah.
They have done a remarkable job.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful property and well worth stopping and staying if you are in the area or travelling along that Bruce Highway and looking for somewhere to camp.
Look, I think it's $40 a night, I think, to camp at an off-grid campsite. And we've read comments and people are like, oh, that's just too steep. And then when you're actually there and you see they've also then got a resort-style pool and hot and cold shower amenities and all of these other little beautiful spots, and it's just so perfectly manicured, and they just work. These people are just working to maintain.
Yeah,
this
and a
property.
full bar area at the hangar.
Yeah, and barista coffee each morning at 7:30 and a gated estate, so you have to know the code to get in and out. I don't know. I just think as an experience that is a first-class off-grid experience, I actually think it's great value.
Yeah, 100%. It's chalk and cheese to pulling up at a free camp somewhere in the middle of the bush. They really have done an amazing job here. We do love it.
It's a great way for people who are just dipping their toe into the free camp, which we would say just go on free camp. It's amazing.
Oh, look, and we've learnt that through experience. We were so worried about it when we first set off. We were really, really scared of free camping, and now obviously 3 years in, we're like, yeah, love it. This is living.
Well, that's it. If it's a safety concern, then being in a gated estate version of free camping is fantastic.
Yep.
Great way to
advice.
do it. And just so good to have these friendly people.
Yes.
All right. Then we were straight into, okay, we need lunch. A really great tip, meal plan.
No, 100%.
If you're doing this shakedown, a few days, then have some ideas of what you're going to actually feed your tribe or each other.
Yes.
We knew that we were going to do pizzas on the Weber.
So easy. It is a really quick and easy go-to
Yeah.
for us. I mean, they always taste fantastic. But, yeah, just a really good one to say, okay, I'm going to quickly whip this up. You know, you want to be spending your time out there enjoying the environment that you're in,
Yep.
not inside cooking. And isn't that a cool thing with the new van, is that we've got so much more outdoor living accessibility with the new outdoor kitchen.
Yes, yeah.
Our van also has that awesome slide at the front for the Weber now to sit on. So I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is a whole new style of enjoying our space for us.
Look, pimping your own pizzas
Yeah.
is fantastic because you can manage the balance between health and, happy food. As I like
Yes,
to call it.
most times. Depends how much cheese you put on top.
Oh, mate, pile it on, I say. All right, the other option here is to head out to the local pub. It's about 15 minutes drive. It's called Teabine.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love this. So we went for dinner to the Teabine and we're driving through the countryside and it's only 15 minutes up the road. But I tell you what, you certainly feel like you've all of a sudden been picked up by a UFO and transported out into the middle of incredible countryside that's miles and miles from anywhere else. The drive out there, I was like, is the GPS taking us the right way? Because we're just driving on these tiny little
Plenty of roofs.
back roads,
Yeah.
no houses, no
Yeah.
suburbs, no nothing. And then all of a sudden you pull up to this beautiful looking Queenslander style pub that has been here in the very same state for how long?
I don't know. I think it would have to be in that 90 to 100 years old. I wish I'd asked now. But the publican is a guy called Jackson who has that perfect Aussie country farmer presence, smile. G'day, Jackson. This guy is straight out of a character book on quintessential Aussie pub owners.
Yeah, and how lovely
Amazing.
was he? And he took the time to chat with us and nothing was a problem. And we had Jasper, of course, and we were joined by Darren and Sam and their little boy, Oakland. So the boys just, basically took over the hotel and ran amok and had heaps of fun. And it was just a really lovely night out at a great local that we would encourage you to go and try out if you are going to Hangaro.
Yeah, hearty pub meal.
Oh, and the prices. I mean, you just don't get food at those prices anywhere unless you're in the middle of the country.
Such a great experience. So the food planning or having a backup plan like that is really great. There is a Foodland not far from Hangaro. And in fact, Darren has been able to talk to the owners of Foodland and organise discount coupons.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, apparently I haven't seen them, but that has happened. So you can also just say, I'm staying at Hangaro, and they can sort you out down
That's
there as
awesome.
well if you've forgotten anything.
I love that community vibe. This is something that we talk a lot about when we talk about Tassie. They have that real collaborative approach to tourism and providing those services to visitors of a town. It is so good and it is so beneficial for everybody involved.
Can I add value? So,
Love it.
Love it, absolutely. So the real experience here is to test and try everything, in a safe place where you've also got that information from Darren or Sam on hand. Really unique experience, and I think that this will become the normal down the track for other manufacturers because it is setting a standard that I think that everyone could really jump up and meet because it's so valuable to be in situ.
Oh, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Does make
Totally, now
sense.
that we've done it. And look, we tested things out. We certainly gave the diesel heater a good run, that's for sure. We were there in winter and Hangaro does get a little bit frosty overnight.
Yeah.
But it really does make sense when you're there because you're in the picture. You're not just looking at the picture. You are actually in the picture, living
Well
the
said.
picture.
Love it. All right, let's leave the story of Hangaro and this incredible handover from Zone RV there. We'll move on to our takeaway for this week, and it's actually just a little bit of a backstory on Darren and Sam, in particular Darren, because I think this really sums up what I'm really wanting to share this week, and that is about connecting the dots in your life, and that sometimes, you know, through your career, you're growing up and then you're out of school or uni or whatever it is, and then you're into the workforce, and then way down the track there, you know, you all of a sudden look back and you go, now I realise why I did that, and it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like that listening to Darren and his story. You know, when he was about 40, he was working over in Perth and they were living over there, and he was running part of the manufacturing for Fleetwood, who were a family business that were actually owners of Corrimal Caravans, which was our first caravan actually. And he was working there, and then he, for his 40th, I think, went up to Exmouth and he got to do this flight in an ultralight plane over the whale sharks.
Amazing.
And then fast forward a little bit longer, he decides that he loved this experience so much he wants to learn how to fly. Mm-hmm. So then he learns how to fly an ultralight. He then purchases one and flies it up from Adelaide to Hangaro, builds this Hangaro campground that is based around his new love of flying around an airstrip, and calls it Hangaro. Mm-hmm. And then he's partnered up with Zone because their CEO loved camping there, and is now doing the handovers for them. I mean, it's crazy, you know, and he must be going, oh, there you go, that's why I did that job and that's why I did that. And now it's, you know, now all of a sudden all of these dots have come together and joined to allow him and add value to all of these other people's lives because of his dots.
Yeah, I love it. It puts a picture in my mind for anybody who has children who's listening or remembers the days when you were a kid. Those pictures, you know, those connect the dots and the pictures are all numbered and you have to draw the line between each of the dots to reveal what the picture is. And it basically is a real life version of that. For all of us, when we look back on that journey of our life, and when you do start to connect those dots, it reveals this incredible picture to you.
Everyone would be familiar with Steve Jobs and Apple.
He's the guy that takes the bite out of all of the apples, as Jasper says.
Yeah, Jasper, he looked at the logo of Apple and he goes, why is there a bite out of it? And we said, well, every time they sell an Apple product, Steve Jobs took a bite out of it. And so we've heard him tell people that. Anyway,
Steve.
he took another bite. That's their profit margin. Probably, and it's more than one bite, I tell you. Yeah, just keep chewing Apple. Okay, but back to it. Steve Jobs, obviously, a fair few years before he passed away, actually, I think it was 2006, is doing a commencement speech at Stanford University, from memory. Google that. And that is really, I think it's called Stay Hungry.
Oh, cool. Let's put the link in the description.
Yeah, okay, that's a great idea. And it is about connecting the dots of your life. And I won't give that story away. You should do yourself a favour and check that out.
Yeah, well worth a watch.
All right. But yeah, thank you to Darren and Sam. Just, you know, beautiful
Good people.
Beautiful, good people, and amazing reminder that, you know, sometimes those questionable moments or questionable dots in your life can be, you know, outcomes years later that make sense.
Yeah, awesome. And look, if you are planning to go and stay with Darren and Sam up at Hangaro, tell them the Feel Good sent you.
Yes.
They'd love to meet you and have a good chat.
Yeah, really great. And their beautiful little boy, Oakland. Actually, the O in Hangaro, the O is because of their son, Oakland.
Who he and Jasper just headed off. And, yeah, it's always great. They are quickly becoming very good friends.
Yeah, very cool. All right, we will now wrap it up with a mention of Jasper, a.k.a. Jasper Rooney. He gets as well.
Jasper Roozy. Rooney Roo.
And look, if you've got kids out there or grandkids and you are looking for more feel-good content, but that is just for kids, he has, after, I don't know, about 18 months, I think it would be now, of, can I do my own YouTube channel? Can I do a kids content? Can I, share my version of what we do as the Feel Good family? So we have been giving him the camera and letting him do segments and things, and he's even given me some tips and advice on editing and directing. And what's beautiful, actually, talk about becoming a product of your environment. We'll be watching a movie. I know we went and saw the Paw Patrol, the movie, the phenomenon that it is, Paw Patrol. And he says to me, "Oh, Dad, look at that opening shot, the way the drone panned down." And I'm just like, yeah, he's actually starting to recognise,
super
establishing shots and things. And it's very, very cool. So he has now Jasperoo, his YouTube channel. And if you just search for that in YouTube, you will find it. He's only got a couple of episodes up there, but we're trying to get one out every couple of weeks. It's
a little bit more editing work for you, Dal.
A fair whack more, but that is okay. We're giving him another outlet to be the storyteller and the expressive storyteller that he is.
Yeah.
And this is a great way for him to be able to share his experiences, his learnings, the education, the entertainment, the sometimes enlightenment for us as parents with others out there. And we'd encourage you to share that with your families as well, because it is good stuff.
Yeah, it sure is. And look, you can also get to that channel from the Feel Good Family YouTube channel in our Channels You'll Love section. You just scroll down, you'll be able to click straight over there to Jasperoo.
Love it. Good on you, mate. Very proud parent moment, that one. All right, we will wrap it up there for this week. Next week, yes, the GC, Gold Coast, our hometown, for a very unique farm stay. In fact, that is the backdrop of where we are recording this week.
It's so beautiful here. Gee, we've had such an awesome week. It has been jam-packed. We have initiated Jasper into the world of theme parks. Holy dooly. How much can we cram into 1 week?
Yeah,
but I tell you what, where we're staying at the farm stay at Paradise Country, just awesome, quiet, miles away from the hustle and bustle of the GC. Just, been loving it.
And every now and then you feel like, oh, what's that behind me? It's a horse.
Yeah. Yep.
Hard to believe the M1 is like, maybe a kilometre from where we're sitting, and it's quite, love it.
Yeah, it's been really fantastic. So lots to share next week.
Fantastic. For now, we will say dream big, look after yourself, look after your family.
And happy trails.
Feel the journey, feel the love, feel good family.
Good stuff. Holy dooly. So much to talk about. We could just keep talking and talking and talking. I wanted to say, I love watching you when you edit anyway, because it amazes me that Paul can do what he does.
Is it what I'm wearing?
Well, yeah, of course, Dal. But I love watching you now when you're editing Jasper's content, because you just have this beautiful smile on your face the whole time.
Yeah, it is that. Oh, hang on. Talk of
somebody
Jasper, and I just saw a little meerkat's head pop up. Oh, is he talking about me?
Just woken up.
It does. It fills my heart with joy. And as a dad, there's nothing better than being able to not only be witness to the moment live, but then to be able to actually have that moment again, because we've got the cameras rolling, is really special.
Just awesome. Beautiful.
Thank you. All right. Look after yourself. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.